Hi, welcome to the first edition of Be Your Own Contractor. My name is Randall Loftstrom. I've been building homes for 20 years now. The first 6 as a carpenter and the last 14 years as a general contractor. The name of my company is Arcadian Development. Join me, won't you? In this program, we want to give you a thorough understanding of the things you'll need to know to effectively manage the construction of your dream home. Whether your motivation to build your own home is to have the satisfaction of knowing you've done it yourself, or you're trying to save some money, or out of necessity, this video will give you a thorough understanding of each step in the process, helping build your confidence that you are managing the home building process successfully. How do I define success? Well, it's real simple. I want you to be able to build the home that you want on time and on budget. And if you stay on schedule, you get extra points. And even if you choose to leave the role of contractor up to a professional, this will give you an important glimpse of what that relationship will look like and what he's going throughout the process so that you can work well together. We've divided our presentation into 3 modules to better help you follow along, so let's just do it. The first module is titled Planning is Everything, and will cover everything you will do before breaking ground on your lot and include such topics as lot selection, home design, bank loans, and subcontractor selection and agreements. The second module is titled Building Your Home and will cover everything included in the actual building of the structure, including framing of the house and putting in water, power, and heat, etc. The third and final module is titled Finishing Touches, and it will cover all the work that is done to complete the interior and exterior of your home, such as the kitchen cabinets, exterior siding, painting, and landscaping. So, what do you say? Let's get started, shall we? To make the planning process go as smoothly as possible, you want to make a plan and then work the plan. First up on that list is something that I think is going to be really fun. Let's go find that piece of dream property in which you can build your dream home on. What you should know about your property is the price you pay for that lot should not exceed 1/3 the appraised price of the homes in that neighborhood, and 25% is better. This is because of the general rule of thumb that banks will only lend you 70 to 80% of the appraised value of your finished home. So you don't want to sink too much of your loan amount into the property. You want to try and leave 2/3 of your loan to build the house and landscape the lot. Now pay attention, because you will be tested on this material later. Any piece of property that you intend to make an offer on, you make sure that the realtor can certify the 3 following items. First, how will you get power to your land? Second, is there water available? If not, is there a water share? How much does it cost? Thirdly, is there a sewer hookup, or will you be on a septic field? If you are in a septic field, is there a perk? If there is not, you will have to get one. Now, if your property is going to require a septic field, it's important that you get a perk test. And what a perk test accomplishes, it tests the ground to see if it will percolate the drain field that you have to put in. It's important that not only do you have a property that percolates, but also it will accept the number of bedrooms that you want in that house. So when you get the perk designer out here, tell them how many bedrooms you want and make sure the septic field will meet that. And finally, make sure any offer is contingent upon a successful perk test. You may find it helpful to do your own research on home designs. You can find magazines at the grocery store, architectural design books, trade journals. The places are unlimited. Get yourself design ideas that will work for you.
When an owner builder comes to an architect, they need to have 3 things in mind that are very important to that relationship between the architect and the owner. Budget is one thing. They need to know very realistically what they want to spend and on the architect and on the building. Second, they need to know what they expect from the architect. A set of drawings can be very, very detailed or very, very simple, allowing them freedom to choose things later on, or whether the architect needs to specify everything up front to begin with. And third, they ought to have a good idea of some of the design features that they want in the house. They need to be able to communicate to the architect some of the types of things they like, or the things that are important to them in the design. Additionally, some of the other factors that influence the cost of a home are the terrain of the land, or the complexity of the program, the types of finishes or materials the owner would like to see in the house, whether they're wood windows or vinyl windows, or if it's important to them to have marble or laminate or things like that, greatly affect the cost of the house. Ultimately, a great dream home is the result of a well-coordinated architectural set of plans, and it's important not to compromise on the architecture.
Some rules of thumb to keep in mind while you're looking at a potential design is that the steeper the roof, the steeper the price. The more corners it has, the more expensive it's going to be. So you want to look at a house that pleases you with the eyes towards the design, but also cost. Now that we have our dream home design in hand, the next step in the process is to cost out our materials and our subcontractors. This can be a very time-consuming part of the process on your part because the itemized list is quite detailed and extensive. But this is an important role you play in being your own contractor. You are now ready to take your lot purchase agreement, home design, and budget to the bank.
Well, banks are looking, when someone wants to be an owner-builder, that you are able to build the house, in a timely manner and to budget. And that's why we gave you the forms in the beginning that show that it has your costs, that you put your costs down, and we also have the specifications list, and you have your blueprints so that we know that you've worked with your suppliers and your subcontractors and you've really gotten exact costs so that you can stay within budget. And that's one of the dangers really with owner builders, is that they don't know their costs when they're going into a project. We find that a lot of times they say, well, I think it'll cost this much, but we really want exact figures.
You must, and I repeat, you must include in your budgeting process all applicable hookup fees for power, water, and sewer. Also, there'll be a 1.5% to 3% construction loan fee, and the cost of clearing the land and excavation of your home site can vary greatly, so you want to try and get a good handle on that. Now, before the bank will actually lend you any money, there's a couple items they'll have to be assured of that show you are indeed ready to start your new home. First, your completed materials and labor bids from all your subcontractors. Second, all building permits related to building your home. And third, a set of blueprints and site plan related to property lines, water, power, and sewer treatment. Now, once you've gotten all this information to your banker, they're going to be ready to start the appraisal process. And assuming the appraisal matches closely what you've budgeted to build that house, you're going to be in good shape to get the loan, start your excavation, and break ground. Remember, an important rule of thumb: once you've taken out that construction loan, that interest clock is ticking every day, and it sounds like this: ka-chink, ka-chink. If the appraisal is not high enough to meet your building budget, then you will have to go back and get lower bids or make design changes that will lower the cost of building your home, or kick in some of your savings to make up the shortfall. Once you have loan approval, or while you're waiting for it, it's time to get all the permits you'll need to build the home. While your architect may offer to do this for you, remember, he or she will be working by the hour, and so to save some money, you might want to take this job on for yourself. Keep in mind that your subcontractors will already have well-established relationship with material suppliers, so let them give you advice on comparable materials to the ones you want so that you can get a good price and quality. Your subcontractor bids will include, but not be limited to, excavation, foundation, framing, plumbing, roofing, electrical, heating, insulation, sheetrocking, painting, interior and exterior, cabinets, millwork, hard surfaces, which are your carpet, wood flooring, vinyl, tile, formica. You've got your garage door installation, and siding and gutters. Some of your subcontractors will need copies of your blueprints, so after you've made copies for the building department and the banks and the appraiser, make sure you make extra copies for those subcontractors as they need them, and make sure you get them back. An important point to remember when you're going through the bidding process with your subcontractors is that you may find a certain bias by them of working with you as a lead contractor. There's several reasons for this. One, they may feel you won't do an adequate job of scheduling all the different trades appropriately, causing their schedules with other jobs to get off kilter. Second, they may not feel you've budgeted properly and they will be asked to cut corners or forego some safety concerns to bring it in on budget. And third, they may feel you will not know the right materials for the job. If one or all of these issues are present, the subcontractor may add 10% or more to his bid just to cover himself, and you want to avoid this from happening. For these reasons, you may want to address their concerns head on and ask their advice whenever possible, since it is their job to know their business. In this way, you can make them a valuable part of your team and help ensure that you have the right schedule, the right budget, and the right materials to do the job to everyone's satisfaction. One thing you will want to do with your subcontractors before they are hired is to have a signed written agreement with each of them about what work it is they are expected to do, what materials they are expected to use, what schedule they are expected to meet, and what price they will do the work for, so the entire project can stay on the master schedule and on budget. By the way, safety is always a primary concern of your subcontractors, and it should also be top on your list. One of the ways I ensure a safe job is by keeping it clean. A clean job is a safe job, as well as a respected one. Planning on paper is free, is free, is free. Once you've taken out that construction loan and you're out in the field building, indecisiveness and delays cause huge cost overruns. That's your equity. You want it in your pocket, not spread out all over your job. One area of planning that can save you a lot of grief later is to let your framing subcontractor figure out your material list for your framing job. I assure you, no one has more incentive to get it right than he does. It's his time, and he's going to be putting that job together, and he knows how it goes together. So even if you have to pay him a small fee to do that, I guarantee you it's worth it to you. Well, now that you've had your life put through a fine mesh screen by the creditors, you've gotten your construction loan, and you've gotten your long-awaited building permit, it's time for you and your team of subcontractors to finally go build your dream home. Up next, Module 2. Here's where we actually begin the construction of your dream home. This is an exciting time because your home has finally started coming out of the ground. Be careful though, because if you do everything your subs say, it can take 2 years or more to get your house built. Keep them on site, sticking to the agreed upon time schedule, whatever it takes, and make sure they have the materials they need on the site when you've promised them. Let's take a look at a master schedule, or also known as a flow chart, and become familiar with it, because this is going to be the roadmap that you use to guide you through this process. I want you to be familiar with it, know what it looks like, and stick to it like it's the Bible. The first crews in are the excavators. They will clear the land and excavate the land for the house. Then the foundation people come in and install the foundation. You want to allow about 2 weeks to complete the clearing, excavation, and foundation work properly. It's important that as soon as you get your foundation going, or as soon as your foundation is complete, order your windows and your doors so that by the time the framing is substantially completed, they'll be there and you can put them in, and if there's any problems, you can fix them. Speaking of the framing crew, they're obviously the next ones in after the foundation's in, and you want to allow anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months for that framing to go on, depending on the size and the complexity of your design. As soon as the framing is complete, and I mean as soon as the staples are in the sheathing on the trusses, you want to get that roof on, you want to get your windows and doors installed, get your plumbers in there. If you have any framing to do for the plumbers, you can do it before they leave. While your subcontractors will be in charge of most of the inspections, you'll wind up getting stuck with a couple of them. So it's important that the ones you do pass and that you don't delay the other subs coming in after those inspections. As I've stated earlier, if for any reason you have a delay during the framing schedule, make sure that you get in contact with those subsequent contractors and let them know so they can facilitate that timing issue into their schedules. Another important action item to keep in mind is to Avoid at all costs any opportunity for turf wars between your plumbers, your heating and ventilation people, and your electricians. Because there may be points in the house where they are all installing materials, have the lead subcontractors from each of these areas meet on the site at the same time to discuss their individual needs. This way they can work out their conflicts before any work is done. Also, the framing crew can do any pickup work needed to augment these trades. The next building step, and an important one to get done as soon as possible, is to have the roofing crew put on the roof. This protects the interior of the home from the effects of bad weather and permits the interior crews to begin their work. Allow a few days for the completion of the roof. Once the roof is on, the plumbing, heating, and electrical crews can come in to complete their work. Allow about 2 weeks for this work. Once your framing is substantially completed, get the cabinet people in there, get the millwork people in there. You want to measure for your doors, you want to measure for your cabinets, and get all that stuff ordered. And if there's any problems, you'll find them out right then and there, and you can have the framer fix them while he's there. While we've got these subs in the interior of the house putting in the guts of the home, it's important to have the siders on the outside putting on your exterior siding. And then we're looking for paint, and we're looking for gutters. Also, if we can possibly have it happen, we want to have our local septic installers putting in our septic field or hooking us up to sewer, getting our trenches in for water and power, getting those signed off, and getting our permanent power hooked up so we can turn on the heat and dry the sheetrock mud during the sheetrock phase. Once this work has been completed, it's time for an inspection. Also, we'll pick up any of the items that were called out in the framing inspection. This is an important milestone, so hopefully it'll go smoothly. I try whenever possible to be there at the important inspections, like the framing inspection and final inspection. The reason for this is that if I fail that inspection and have to do a re-inspection, my job could be delayed for up to a week. So it's really critical that I'm there working with that inspector to find out what other things I can fix and maybe pick up at the installation inspection and keeping my job on track. Now we're keeping to a tight schedule. In my mind, a tight schedule means I've got people working on my house 5-6 days a week. I'm working towards timely completion of this project. I can have a crew inside, I can have a crew outside. It all works together. So remember, the bank is collecting your money every day whether you live in this house or not. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. All right, now we're on to Module 3. Welcome to Module 3. This is where we put the finishing touches on our dream home. Well, as you can see, the end is near. The end of the work, that is, and the beginning of you moving into your dream home. The first job to be done in this phase is the sheetrocking. Since sheetrocking is messy and there's really no other job in the house you can do during this time, once the rock is put in place and the taping starts, if you got away, get out of town for a week. You deserve a rest, and this is a great little spot to take one. Next up is the interior painting and the installation of the vinyl flooring and or hardwood floors if there are any. Then you're down to the final steps on the interior, the kitchen cabinets, millwork, interior doors, tile work, appliances, and bathroom fixtures. It should take between 1 to 4 weeks to complete this portion. Generally, most new home builders are packing up the moving van as this work is completed, and the carpet layers, the finishing touch, are laying down your carpeting. So while there's a sense of completion just around the corner, there's still one finishing touch that you've hopefully left room in your budget for, and that is landscaping. It is one thing to have a nice home, but if it is surrounded by dirt or worse, mud, you'll soon tire of tracking it through your new home. So my advice is to put landscaping into your plan. Budget and schedule from the very first, and after all the exterior work is complete on the house, follow through with the landscaping. Well, you've gotten your final inspection. You've received your certificate of occupancy, and now it's time to enjoy what has got to be a crowning achievement in your life. You've built your own home, and it's now time to start enjoying it. Remember, plan your work and work your plan. After all, you're the boss.